All right, let's deep dive into South Africa's Northern Cape province. We've got some interesting plans here, for growth and development,
Mm.
all based around these six spatial transformation corridors.
Yeah, and what's really key here is they're not just, picking random areas and saying this is a corridor. These are very geographically focused, like they've really sat down and thought about it.
So they're designed to kind of leverage certain assets,
Yeah.
almost like targeted investments, right?
Yeah, exactly. To try to boost regional integration and attract investment, and not just domestic investment, but also international investment.
Yeah, so it's not just about, slapping a new label on existing regions. These STCs are like strategic blueprints,
Yeah.
each tailored to a particular vision. So let's start with the first one here. We've got the Alexander Bay Springbuck Corridor, and this one seems to be all about the coast and connections. I mean, just geographically looking at it.
Absolutely. So this corridor runs along the N7, which is a major national route connecting South Africa and Namibia. So it's capitalizing on that strategic location.
Yeah, that cross-border element seems like a big deal. It's not just about what's happening within the Northern Cape itself.
Right. And they're looking to leverage existing assets like the copper mining industry, which is significant in this region, along with the potential for renewable energy projects, especially wind and solar, given the vast open spaces.
I'm seeing a lot of emphasis on small-scale harbors in
Yeah.
this document. What's the thinking there?
It's about diversification. The corridor wants to support small-scale fishing and mariculture to boost the local economy, while also tapping into tourism opportunities tied to the unique coastal
So
landscapes.
it's not putting all its eggs in one basket,
Mm,
trying to, create a more resilient economy that can weather changes in global markets.
exactly. Exactly. And having multiple income streams makes the region less susceptible to, economic shocks. Now let's move on to the Calvini of Redden corridor. This has a completely different vibe.
Yes, this one feels very anchored in agriculture and the natural beauty of the region. I'm picturing, rolling farmlands and those stunning Karoo landscapes.
Yeah, you're spot on. This corridor is banking on niche agricultural products like rooibos tea, which is in high demand globally, and Karoo lamb, known for its unique flavor.
I'm already seeing a theme here. Just like the coastal corridor, this one is also leaning into renewable energy, right?
Absolutely. The document highlights the potential for both wind and solar energy production, given the strong winds and ample sunshine in this region.
The document mentions unique cultural events as a driver for tourism. What kind of events are we talking about here?
I think local festivals celebrating the region's heritage, like the Namaqualand flower season, which draws tourists from all over to witness the spectacular wildflower blooms or, the Hantum Vleisfees, focusing on local cuisine and culture. These kind of events bring in revenue and help preserve the region's unique identity.
Makes sense. Okay, let's shift gears to the Upington-Prescott corridor. Now, this one seems to be all about, strategic location and cross-border trade, just geographically looking at where it's located.
You've hit the nail on the head. Sitting on the N14, which links South Africa to Namibia and Botswana. So this corridor is positioning itself as a key player in logistics and transportation.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's like a gateway to the north. Um, what industries are we looking at here? What's driving the economy in this corridor?
Agriculture is a major force here. This region is known for its high-quality table grapes, citrus fruits, and dates, thanks to the abundant sunshine and fertile soil. And of course, like the other corridors, it's also exploring the potential of renewable energy, particularly solar power.
All right, let's talk about the Gamaga corridor. This one uh, feels quite different. This is really the heart of the Northern Cape's mining industry.
It is, and that's both a strength and a challenge. The corridor is a major producer of iron ore and manganese, but they're facing the reality of finite resources.
All right, that's always the problem, isn't it, with mining?
Yeah, the document explicitly states that some mines are nearing closure, which could have a significant impact on the local economy.
So what's the plan? Are they just going to let these towns decline as the mines shut down?
Not at all. The focus is on creating a more diverse and resilient economy. They're looking at ways to add value to existing industries, developing supporting infrastructure, and attracting new investments to create new opportunities beyond mining.
From the sounds of it, that's going to require some creative thinking and a long-term vision.
Definitely. It's about recognizing the need for change and proactively planning for a future beyond mining. Now, our next stop takes us to the Hopetown to Velhartz corridor, which highlights the importance of water resources.
This one immediately stands out to me because of its connection to the Orange and Bell River systems. Those rivers are really the lifeblood of the Northern Cape.
You're absolutely right. This corridor is leveraging those river systems to support intensive agriculture. It's a major contributor to national food security, producing a wide range of crops, thanks to the reliable water supply.
And Kimberley's in this corridor, right?
Yes, Kimberley is situated within this corridor.
So how does that factor into the overall strategy, being the provincial capital?
So Kimberley acts as the administrative and economic hub for the region. Its central location and existing infrastructure make it a natural focal point for development and a key link to neighboring provinces.
So it's not just about rural development. It's also about strengthening urban centers like Kimberley to kind of create a more balanced and integrated regional economy.
Precisely. Now let's wrap up our tour with the Colesberg to Aar corridor.
This one seems to be all about logistics and connections, leveraging its position on those major transportation routes.
Exactly. With DR at its center, this corridor sits at the intersection of the N1 and N10 national roads, making it a strategic hub for logistics and transportation. And they're also looking to develop as a renewable energy hub, harnessing the potential of solar and wind power.
The document also mentions a strong agricultural sector in this corridor. What are the key agricultural products here?
So the corridor is a significant producer of livestock, particularly sheep and cattle, as well as crops like maize and wheat. It's a reminder that while logistics and renewable energy are, key drivers, agriculture remains a vital part of the regional economy.
Okay, so let's recap here. We've got a corridor focusing on coastal resources, another on niche agriculture, one leveraging its strategic location for trade, another facing the challenge of transitioning from mining, one harnessing the power of its rivers, and finally, one positioned as a logistics and renewable energy hub. Each one kind of brings something unique to the table.
It really is fascinating how they've kind of identified these distinct opportunities and created a framework for targeted development, almost like a diversified portfolio for regional growth, right?
And it sounds like they're not just focusing on economics,
Yeah.
purely. Like there's a real emphasis on sustainability,
Mm.
social inclusion, creating opportunities that benefit local communities, not just, big businesses coming in and taking the profit.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you look closer, the document consistently emphasizes things like skills development, job creation, and community participation. It's not just about attracting, like you said, big businesses. It's about creating an environment where local people can thrive.
Yeah, what's the point of, economic growth if it doesn't translate into tangible improvements in people's lives? Like, what are we really doing here?
Exactly. And that's where the idea of spatial transformation comes in. It's not just about, physical infrastructure or economic indicators. It's about transforming the very fabric of these regions, making them more equitable, sustainable, and prosperous for everyone.
Okay, so we've got a good grasp of the individual corridors, but what's the bigger picture here? What's the ultimate goal of this whole spatial transformation strategy?
Well, it's about creating a more integrated and competitive Northern Cape. By strategically investing in these corridors, they aim to stimulate economic growth, attract investment, and ultimately boost the province's overall standing within South Africa and even, internationally.
So it's not just about the Northern Cape, being this resource-rich region. They want to be seen as a leader, right?
Exactly. Yeah, in innovation, sustainable development, and economic diversification.
Moving beyond, that traditional image of the Northern Cape to something new, right? Something more modern.
Precisely. It's about showcasing its potential as a hub for a range of industries, from renewable energy to high-value agriculture to logistics, even tourism.
I'm curious about the timeline for all of this. Are we talking about a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan, or is this even longer term?
Well, the document outlines a long-term vision, but it also emphasizes, the need for short-term wins to kind of build momentum and demonstrate progress. They're talking about phased implementation, starting with pilot projects and then scaling up successful initiatives.
So it's not just a lofty document sitting on a shelf. They're taking action.
Exactly. And that's a crucial point. The success of this strategy will depend on their ability to translate these plans into action and to create a sense of ownership among local communities and businesses.
Yeah, if people don't feel like they're a part of this, it's unlikely to succeed, right?
Absolutely. It's about creating a sense of shared purpose and ensuring that the benefits of growth are distributed equitably across the region.
It's like we zoomed in on each corridor,
Yeah.
and now we're pulling back to see how we all fit together in this larger tapestry of regional development.
Exactly. And what's exciting is that it's not just about copying, what other regions are doing. They're drawing inspiration from global best practices, but tailoring them to the unique context of the Northern Cape.
This all sounds very ambitious. What are some of the potential challenges they might face in, actually implementing this strategy? I mean, it always sounds great on paper.
Well, one challenge is going to be coordination. With 6 distinct corridors, each with its own set of stakeholders and priorities, ensuring that everyone is working together towards a common goal. That'll be critical.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like conducting an orchestra. You need to make sure all the instruments are, in tune
Yeah,
and playing in harmony.
exactly. And of course, funding will always be a challenge.
Hmm.
Implementing these ambitious plans will require significant investment, not just from the government, but also from the private sector and international partners.
So they're going to have to make, a compelling case to attract those investments. What are some of the key selling points they can highlight?
Well, one is the sheer scale of the opportunity. I
Yeah.
mean, the Northern Cape is a vast region with untapped potential in a variety of sectors. They can also emphasize their commitment to sustainable development, which is increasingly important for investors looking to, align their portfolios with environmental and social goals.
And, let's not forget the people.
Right. The human capital.
The Northern Cape has a diverse and resilient population, and they're eager to contribute to the region's growth.
Absolutely. Investing in skills development
Yeah.
and education will be crucial to ensure that local communities can fully participate in and benefit from the opportunities created by these corridors.
It sounds like they've got a solid plan in place, but success will depend on, effective execution, collaboration, and a commitment to inclusivity.
Exactly. It's not just about building, roads and bridges. It's about building trust, fostering innovation, and creating a sense of shared prosperity. That's the real essence of transformation.
I'm sensing a theme here. It's not just about, you know, top-down development driven by government plans. It's about empowering local communities to be active participants in shaping their own future.
You're absolutely right. That sense of ownership is crucial for long-term sustainability.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground here, from the specific features of each corridor to, the broader vision for the Northern Cape's future. I'm starting to see how these pieces fit together like a complex puzzle.
And the exciting thing is that this puzzle is still being assembled. There's room for new ideas, new partnerships, and new approaches to emerge as these corridors take shape.
It's a dynamic process, not a static one. What stands out to you is the most innovative aspect of this spatial transformation strategy?
For me, it's the focus on interconnectedness. They're not treating these corridors as isolated entities. They're looking at how they can complement each other, create synergies, and leverage their combined strengths to create a more competitive and resilient regional economy.
That's a great point. It's not just about 6 individual corridors. It's about how those corridors can work together to kind of amplify their impact and create a truly transformative change for the Northern Cape.
Precisely. And that's what makes this story so compelling. It's about a region that's not afraid to think big, to embrace innovation, and to chart a new course for its future.
Yeah, it's inspiring to see a region taking such a proactive and strategic approach to development. Now, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to turn to you, our listener. We've explored these 6 corridors, and each one has, its own opportunities and challenges. But if you had to choose, which one do you think has the most potential for transformative change, and why?
That's a good question. Each corridor has its own unique appeal. I mean, you look at the coastal resources of the Alexander Bay Springbuck corridor or the agricultural heartland of the Hopetown to Valharts corridor. But I think, the most exciting thing here isn't about picking a winner. It's about how these corridors can work together to create, a more vibrant and dynamic Northern Cape.
Yeah, it's about synergy and collaboration,
Yeah.
not competition.
Exactly. The real magic will happen when these corridors start to connect and reinforce each other. So, for example, imagine the renewable energy produced in the Calvinia-Vredendal corridor, powering the agricultural operations in the Uppington-Prieska corridor, or the logistics hub in the Colesberg-Dar corridor, facilitating, the export of goods produced in the other corridors.
So it's about creating like a network effect, Where the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts.
Precisely. And that's what makes this spatial transformation strategy so compelling. It's not just about isolated pockets of development. It's about creating a more integrated and interconnected, regional economy where each corridor plays a vital role.
It's like a symphony orchestra where each instrument contributes to a harmonious whole.
Yeah, I love that analogy. And just like a conductor brings together, the different sections of an orchestra, the Northern Cape will need strong leadership, effective governance to ensure that these corridors are all working together towards that, shared vision.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's not enough to just have the plan on paper. You got to have the political will, the
Hmm.
institutional capacity,
Hmm.
and the buy-in from the community.
Absolutely. And that's where you, our listener, come in. We've gone through all the information, explored the concepts, but now it's up to you to connect the dots, see how these corridors could potentially impact your own life, your business,
Yeah,
your community.
it's about taking ownership,
Mm.
engaging in the conversation, maybe even contributing to the success of these corridors.
Right. Imagine the possibilities. Perhaps you're an entrepreneur looking to invest in a new venture. Maybe you're a student exploring career paths. Or maybe you're simply a citizen who cares about, the future of your community. These corridors offer a platform for engagement and participation.
It's a call to action, an invitation to be a part of something bigger than yourself.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be back here revisiting these corridors and sharing all the success stories that emerged from this ambitious vision.
That's an exciting thought. So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Northern Cape's spatial transformation corridors, I'm left with, I don't know, a sense of optimism. You know, that this region is on the cusp of something really special.
I think so too. They've got a bold plan, they have a wealth of resources, and most importantly, they have the people who are resilient, resourceful, and ready to embrace the future.
It's a good reminder that even when things are tough, facing all these complex challenges, there's always hope. There's always potential for positive change.
And sometimes all it takes is a little vision, a lot of hard work, and the willingness to work together to make that change happen. So to our listeners, stay curious, stay engaged, and stay tuned because this is an exciting story and it's still unfolding.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep believing in the power of transformation.